I'm Bob Savikinis. Welcome to our program in a nutshell. Today, I'm very honored to have a very special guest with us today. She is a martial artist and an actress. She's known as the Queen of Martial Arts. She holds a black belt ranking in 7 different styles. She's a member of the Black Belt Magazine Hall of Fame. She's a celebrated role model for martial arts, movies, just empowering women in general. She's one of the few Westerners to have appeared and achieved stardom in the Hong Kong film industry. After that, her career turned to making movies in the United States, and she has appeared in over 60 movies. She's appeared in the beloved Dukes of Hazzard TV reunion movie and the Hercules TV show. She's doing podcasts. She has her own YouTube channel. She's continuing to do martial arts seminars, trainings, and she's enjoying traveling, including scuba diving. I want to welcome my very special guest, Cynthia Rothrock. Welcome to our program today.
It's an honor to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm not sure where to begin with everything. I mean, just all the things that we discussed. Maybe we should start with the martial arts. What got you involved as a youngster in martial arts?
Well, I started when I was 13, and the reason I started was my girlfriend's parents actually were doing Tung Sudo at the Scranton Karate School. And I would watch them practice, and I thought, wow, that looks really interesting to be able to learn how to defend yourself with your hands and your feet. So I told my mom, and she signed me up at Scranton Karate School here. And it was interesting, though, because I was one of the few women in the class. There was one other one, and I felt very intimidated, you know, being the only girl. And after a while, I wanted to quit. My mom wouldn't let me. She said, no, you're there for 4 months. You have to continue. And I'm glad. I always say I owe it to my mom.
So we're talking about the martial arts a little bit. We're going to get back to that, but let's quickly move into movies just for a few moments. What got you from the martial arts transferred into a movie career?
Well, it's an interesting story. I was on the West Coast demonstration team, and we were a professional team that traveled throughout the world doing demonstrations, and they were having an audition for the new Bruce Lee. Hong Kong company wanted to find a new guy to be the new Bruce Lee. And he called our team leader because, you know, the guys on it were excellent. And he said, well, shall we bring the women? And they're like, yeah, but we're really looking for a guy. So I went there, and Corey Yuen, who has done many Hollywood movies, was casting. And he said, I'm going to go with the girl. I want the girl, not the guys.
So you then became an actress in the Hong Kong film industry, the Far East industry, and then moved into making American films and I guess European as well and everything?
Yeah, when I did my first movie, I had no idea what to expect. I never did a movie. I was thinking I was Enter the Dragon, you know, I'm going over to Hans Island. I didn't know, you know, anything about the film industry. And I did my first one with Michelle Yeoh. And I thought I would just do one. I didn't really have aspirations to be a movie star. I just thought, oh my God, that's something I could say I did. I did a movie, you know, and the first one was very successful. So Golden Harvest gave me a 3-picture deal and did that. And after that, they were very popular around the world. So right away, I started getting offers, you know, in the United States to do movies. And I've just still doing them. So since that day, you know, that has become my career.
So with movies a little bit slowed up, I guess, because of, you know, the pandemic situations and everything. So you've also turned to having your own YouTube channel, doing podcasts and different appearances and things like that. Can you give a quick overview of that?
Yeah, I think like anybody else, you know, the movie industry stopped, and I do a lot of appearances and seminars around the world. And I just actually did my first one in a year and a half. So it was something else to do. My friend and I, we do Sin and Trina Straight Out of the Box on Facebook. And we just did that because we wanted to talk to each other, and it became really successful. We have quite a big following doing that, and doing podcasts and classes, you know, online. It was just something, you know, to keep in touch with the public. And I was like, I was never home that long, and so I said, okay, I got to do things to keep my mind going because I'm a very active person.
And I think by you just using the word home, it kind of brought me to where we are. We just summed up your career rather quickly and everything, but I think this is the part that I would like our viewers and audience to appreciate, that you grew up here in northeastern Pennsylvania, the Scranton area. And I know earlier when we were talking and everything, you mentioned about going to places like Rocky Glen, which is a very famous amusement park in our area and everything. Tell us a little bit, if you would, share some of your stories of growing up in northeastern Pennsylvania.
Oh gosh, Well, I moved when I was 21, so I was here until I was 21 years old. And Rocky Glen, I love Rocky Glen. I was so sad when it closed. I was like, no, it closed. And I used to go there all the time. It was one of my favorite places to go. My dad used to take me swimming. I learned how to swim at, what was it called? Harvey's Lake, right there. And we did picnics. And I just remember all the carnivals and the fairs that used to go on. And, I love Scranton, I'm really, my mom just passed away, so she sold her house, and I was like, I am definitely going to keep coming back to Scranton. I have to, because my friends are going, you can't, because I live in California. And it's my heart, Scranton.
And I think that's one of the reasons why I'm so proud to have you as our guest on our show today, is just because you are someone who grew up in our area, northeastern Pennsylvania, Scranton, Lackawanna County and everything, and you moved on to have a career that was so successful at martial arts, was so successful in the movie industry, and you're continuing to evolve with being a celebrity from our area. And you didn't forget our area, obviously. You return here occasionally and things like that, and you have such good things to say. Martial arts, tell us a little bit about the career of martial arts. In your bio, you've achieved so many high rankings and everything. Just, if you would, inform our audience a little bit about what that means.
I started off in my first tournament. It was in the Tung Soo Do tournament, and I was an orange belt. I only stayed 5.5 months. And at that time, they just had women from white belt to black belt in one division. And I took second place. Black belt took first, black belt took third. So I thought, you know what, I could be the best in this sport. And I just trained fanatically hard. I studied in Hong Kong, I studied in Taiwan. I went in the 1980s to China when people couldn't even go there. I studied with the Beijing Wushu team. And I just, that was my goal. I wanted to be undefeated for 5 years. And, I set that goal and trained hard every time I was undefeated for over 100 competitions. I never lost. And I wanted to do 5 years and then stop, because I thought that's a record nobody could beat. And I did it. And just so happens in my 5th year, that's when I did movies. So it kind of took me from one career to another. And I always feel I was blessed, because I think this is the life I'm supposed to be doing. And I feel probably the best thing I've done is that, I've taught so many people, and I think everybody should learn martial arts, just because if you protect yourself or someone you love, that's priceless. And at the same time you're doing martial arts, you're getting in good shape. So, you can't lose doing the martial arts.
What words of encouragement would you give younger adults to pursue the martial arts and compete and achieve black belt status as you have and everything?
Yeah, well, I really do think people that go and they get to black belt is, such an achievement, because it's a lot of hard work. I think, it's a good discipline. I mean, for me, it's taught me how to not give up, to set goals and go for them. And of course, everybody has failures in their life, but you just learn from it, just keep going, And I really do think everybody should learn it, not just young people. And a lot of people say, oh, I'm too old, I can't do it. I'm like, no, there's no such thing. I've taught an 86-year-old woman, martial arts. So, you're never too old to do it. And I think there's just so benefits are just beyond, words, by learning martial arts.
And you said you're back at your family homestead, kind of cleaning things up and everything with your mom's passing and everything. Trophies. I understand you have a lot of trophies and everything. Do you have an approximate idea of how many trophies you've won throughout your career for all the successes?
Over 1,000.
Over 1,000.
And I have, as you've seen, my mom's house is full of them. And throughout the years, she was like, what am I going to do with them? She actually built a shed outside her house with all my trophies. So I didn't take them, and they're all here now. And that was only up until prior to me going professional in competition. I moved to California because most of the big tournaments were out there, so I wanted to go out there, and there was someone I wanted to train. So this is just what you saw. Probably about 500 of them is pre-professional competition. So there's quite a few.
So what's your proudest one? What is your greatest achievement that you think you've accomplished in the martial arts
In
field?
competition or in martial arts?
I guess both. Tell us about both.
Okay, in martial arts, I would say I was inducted into the International Sports Hall of Fame, which is by Dr. Bob Goldman and Arnold Schwarzenegger. So they both gave me the award, but I was the first martial artist, male or female, to be inducted into that. So that was a great honor for me. And I think, and then what else? So that was like my martial art achievement that I'm proud of. And what was the other one?
And then just as far as like overall, like your championships that you've
Oh,
accomplished
championships,
and
yeah.
everything.
I would have to say winning the Long Beach Internationals, because that was the biggest tournament in the world and everybody used to go there. And when I first went to California, I went out there to compete in that, and I won first place. And that's kind of hard to do because, you know, you're going against all the #1 people, and it's hard for someone who they don't know who they are, right? I was just this young kid from Scranton, and everybody's like, "Who is that? Who are you? Who are you that beat, like, you know, the top people?" And then from there, then I went to every A-rated tournament there was.
So if someone is interested in learning a little bit about the martial arts, you're doing some seminars, I'm assuming, throughout the country. How would somebody find out about that? How would they learn about your appearances and what's going on with your career as far as trainings of martial
Yeah.
arts and seminars and things?
I'm very into social media. I really keep in contact with my friends and also my fans, and I keep it public because Facebook only lets you have 5,000 friends. So I think I have like about 70,000 followers, and I keep everything public. And I always post where I'm going to be, what I'm doing, so people could, you know, keep in contact and say, "Oh yeah, she's going to be in this area to do a seminar." So.
Okay. So I'm going to turn a little bit now, I guess, to, well, no, I have a question for you. You mentioned earlier about you becoming one of the women inducted and everything. You probably had some competition at one point before it was male and female, and I understand you won several awards that were in the male category, but being a female, you still won the award and everything. Can you maybe explain that a little bit?
Yeah, like I said, back in the day when I was competing, they didn't have a lot of women division. They just put them in one. And I love weapons, and that was one of the reasons. I used to study in New York City. I used to go every week to Shumliang Eagle Claw, and because I liked weapons, you know, and I wanted to be a weapons specialist. Now, when I say weapons, I'm talking ancient Chinese weapons like spears, broadswords, whips, three-sectional staffs, you know, weapons like that. And I had to compete against the men because they didn't have women. And in 1982, which was the second year I was going professional, I became the first in North America of the men's and women. You know, I would go and compete. There'd be like 100 people competing, and you'd have like 3 women, and the rest would be men. And I'm very proud of that because it was hard. You know, it was very hard. You had to not just be as good as the males, but you had to be better, you know, to win a male's division. So.
And I'll go back to my original statement then, saying somebody from northeastern Pennsylvania, again, Scranton area, what you accomplished with that career, it's something you can be very proud of.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And, you know, a lot of people know Scranton now because I always say where I'm from. I put it in my movies. Like someone will say, "Where are you from?" I'll say Scranton, Pennsylvania, like in my character. I'll use my cousin's names as my name, you know, so I always will try to put a little something of Scranton in there.
I'm going to go back to, I guess it was the mid to late 80s into the early 90s, and we have a nice collection of your VHS movies that, you know, some of them, of course, are out on DVD now as your career has continued and everything. Tell us a little bit about the movie industry that you got into, maybe if you want to start with the Hong Kong film industry and then moving it more to the mainstream audience or mainstream movies that you made.
Yeah, well, when I knew nothing about filming, and I was nervous. And when I got there, they wanted me to speak in Chinese, and I was like, "Oh my God, I don't even think I could speak in English," you know, because I was so nervous to be on film. And I did that for 3 years, and it was a good opportunity to make mistakes because in Hong Kong they don't film with sound. You know,
Okay.
And I remember I said, "I'm going to bite you" instead of "I'm going to fight you." You know, and I started laughing, and they're like looking at me like, "What are you laughing for?" I said, "I just said I'm going to bite you." You know, and they're going, "It doesn't matter. We're filming without sound, and your voice will be dubbed later on." So then I did China O'Brien in English, and that was like different. You know, it's like, whoa, I know what someone's saying to me because I never knew what they were saying to me, and because they didn't speak English, they were speaking Cantonese, and then I started studying with a group like Second City. Like they used to, I don't know, whose line is it anyway? All those people are from Second City, and that actually I felt helped my acting because now I didn't come from an acting background, so now I have to do my homework to get better and better and better in that, and that was like live shows, and you had to just act, you know, and do improvisation, and if you weren't really listening to the other person, yeah, you'd be standing there with like egg on your face. So that really helped a lot in my training. And then I did a movie called Sworn to Justice, and we had Brad Dourif in it. We had Walter Koenig from Star Trek in it. And I started studying really intensively with an acting teacher, you know, so that helped too. So.
So your films were more action-oriented, at least at the beginning of your career, and as you continued on gaining more training and background and experience,
Yeah,
then
you know,
kind
yeah.
of
Pretty much, they're all action. I have done a few where there was no action. I did one called Santa's Summer Home, which I played Mrs. Claus, which I loved. It's actually one of my favorite films. And the tagline was, it was all martial art people in it, but nobody fought. Like, even the toughest people love Christmas. But a lot of times when people hire me for like just an acting role, they're like, well, where's the action? Where's the action? You know, they want to see it. So, but I do love doing the action even today. So I would prefer like doing something that has action in it.
what was it like back in the 90s? Because the 90s were the era of the big action movies, and I read a quote somewhere that you gave good competition to actors like Steven Seagal and Jean-Claude Van Damme and all those big action stars of the 90s, and you were a big part of that, and you gave them that competition. What was it like in Hollywood, in the movie industry at that point?
You know, it was tough. It was like same thing like with women, like in martial arts. I was the first woman on the cover of Karate Illustrated magazine because they didn't want to put a woman on. They were saying women and minorities didn't sell, and the editor fought to get me on it, and then it sold out. So it kind of opened doors. So I feel like I'm kind of like a trailblazer, you know, for women, especially in martial arts competition. Now, here we come into movies where it was like women action stars, no way, they don't sell. So in the beginning, I was always the partner. Okay, then the guy had to come in and save the day, right? And then I did Lady Dragon, and I was the star, right? And everybody was like, "Oh my God, women might be able to sell." So I think I opened the door, especially for a lot of stunt women nowadays, like that. You know, yes, a woman can be a lead in action movies, and it can make money.
And it's evident by all the covers of all the movies that you have starred in through all the years and everything, and it's about 60 movies you said and
Yeah.
everything. Yet your career then also went into television a little bit. I mentioned it at the introduction, the Dukes of Hazzard reunion movie, Hercules. Any fun stories about either one of those projects you were involved with?
Oh, well, I love doing Hercules because I was a character. Most of the time, I'm kind of like a relatable. But this one, I was like from Hera sent to kill Hercules, you know, and I had this like this strange voice and short red hair, and I was made of fire. I loved playing that kind of character because it was so, you know, off the wall, and I kind of prefer to do things like that. That's maybe fantasy or horror, which I haven't really done too much of that, but I still would like to do that. Let's see, Dukes of Hazzard, that was the first time I ever shot in a studio every day. I always had different locations. So I was like, wow, that was really cool. And I was with these people that, you know, I didn't really see the Dukes of Hazzard too much, but I knew Daisy Dukes, I knew the shorts, and I knew the car, right? And that was fun for me because it took me out of the martial art world. I'm like, I'm not with martial artists, I'm with actors. And it was like really awesome. And then in Hercules, we shot in New Zealand. So I got to water raft for the first time, bungee jump for the first time, and I think I did something else. What did I do? I did, caving, splunking inside caves. So I love adventure. I think when I stopped doing competition, I really focused on movies. And then I had my daughter in '99. So I kind of didn't do too many movies for 10 years. I wanted to be mom, right? And then after that, I developed extreme adventure. You know, I like doing bizarre things that challenge me. And I think that's because I have like a quirky personality and it kind of comes out like some. So there you
So
go.
your social media fans could follow you doing scuba diving and all your
Yeah.
extreme adventure sports that you're calling them
Exactly.
and everything.
I just got certified in December, all right, to scuba dive, and I have 67 dives under my belt already.
Wow. Let's go back to your movies a little bit. Tell us about some of the locations that you traveled through to film your various movies and
Oh,
everything.
yeah. 7 of them were shot in Hong Kong. I shot a film in Taiwan. I shot 2 in Indonesia. Where else? Obviously, America. You know, throughout America, I shot. I guess the most bizarre place was in Nepal. We shot in Nepal, and that was pretty strange situation. I played a monk actually.
Okay.
And we were having coffee, and some of the stuntmen were all monks, and some guy came in, and he was all mad because we had the monk's outfit on. and he started yelling. We're like, no, 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 you don't want to mess with these people here. Everybody knows how to fight. But then we found out that he wasn't really like a religious monk, that, in Nepal, like a lot of people will become a monk just because they get room and board and stuff like that. It's not all, the spiritual thing. It was a very interesting movie there. It was called Prince of the Sun.
If you had to pick a favorite movie or two or so, what would they be?
There's a couple. One is Martial Art Kid that I did, and people can watch that. You could probably watch all of them, either on YouTube, or Amazon Prime has a lot of them. I think that one, because it gave a good message about bullying, that you shouldn't be a bully, and it helped a lot of kids, like saying, oh, I'm going to help my dad put away chairs and stuff like that. So we gave that good morality for children, how they should act and what martial arts is. And it was kind of similar to the Karate Kid, but it wasn't as like, oh, you can train in 6 months and become a world champion. You're just a green belt, but you still know how to defend yourself. So I was very proud of that movie. And also any of the Hong Kong movies for fighting. The fighting, even today, 40 years, they still hold up, and people can still look at these Hong Kong movies and go, oh my God, that fighting is awesome.
So in all the films that you've made through the years, any fun actors that you've worked with that really stick out in your mind, actresses, things like that?
Yeah, let's see. Kevin Sorbo, who played Hercules, was really fun. And a lot of times back in that day, I dealt with guys that didn't want to be beat up by a woman. They were like, no, that can't happen. And Kevin was like, yeah, hit me, like do whatever. The better you look, that's awesome for my show. Brad Dourif, he was an Academy Award nominee, or actually I think he won Best Supporting Actor for One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I was a little intimidated and nervous, to be opposite him. And after we did this scene together, he came and kissed me on the cheek, and he said that was an Academy Award performance. And I was like, oh my God. And then Stacy Keach, I did Irresistible Force with Stacy Keach. That was awesome. And, I do a lot of movies with my friends, a lot of my martial art friends. I know everybody in martial arts. So, so to me, when I do a film like that, it's fun for me because I feel like I'm working with my family.
So in some of the movies that you've also done through the years, just thinking about all the activities and things, how much is Cynthia Rothrock on screen doing your martial arts, and how much is a stunt person, if I could ask that question?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I do mostly all my stunts.
I assume that.
Yeah, especially like kicks and things like that. What I wouldn't do is, I thought I was going to die in Hong Kong. I was like, each movie is like, they're going to kill me on the next one, they're going to kill me on the next one. And I think because I came so popular is because I did whatever they said. I got hurt, I got kicked in the face where my internal ears split open. I got hit in the nose with swords, my nose like just blew up. You have to be really tough, to be in that kind of world, to be an action star,
What do you think are some of your proudest accomplishments over this long career, whether it's movies, martial arts, being a mom?
Yeah.
Just so many things that
well,
you've done.
obviously, my first one is being a mom. That's the, she's my joy, and the best thing I've done is that created this little individual. So that's obviously first. Second is, I think that a lot of people have learned a lot from me throughout the years that can help them, whether it's physically, like doing martial arts, or as a friend. I try to help people out, I think I'm a very positive person, and I don't like negativity, and a lot of people maybe will deal with depression or something like that, and I try to help them and get it out of it. And I think I just try to make, when people will say to me, oh my God, you're so down to earth, I can't believe it, or you're like, and like even like with my Facebook, I try to keep contact with all my people, because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be where I am today. And I think I just promote to them to be positive and to love life, enjoy life.
So Northeastern PA, is that going to still be your second home as time develops and over time?
It is. One of the regrets I had is I always wanted to have like a little cottage on the lake, and I just regret I haven't now because my mom isn't here, but that is still in my future. If I could, do that and have a nice little place, I'm sure you will someday find me somewhere. in Pennsylvania, in this area, northeastern Pennsylvania, on one of the lakes, maybe Wallenpaupack.
So growing up in this area, I'm going to kind of go back a little bit. What were some of the things that made it special to you?
In this area, that made it special. Well, first of all, family. My family was here, my grandma, my grandpa, and everybody. That was special. Pizza. Pizza is special. I tell everybody that nobody has better pizza in the entire world than here. They'll, oh no, New York is better. Nope, nope, nope. You come here, and actually every time I have people visit, and even today we just went to, I don't know if I get Pizza Lovin', right? We went there, and I take them to different pizza places because I do think we have the best pizza. And I'm like, I read that there's pizza tours that come here, and I tell them, where do they have pizza tours? You can go to lunch and dinner, So, and we have the best hoagies too.
Northeastern Pennsylvania is known for kind of a hard area to grow up, and it also has a good work ethic. It's just an area that it kind of molds people and everything. And how do you think that this has molded you, coming from the area and becoming so successful again in all these fields, again, martial arts, movies, things like that? What do you think you took out of this area to make yourself so successful?
I think integrity, just you have to work for things. It doesn't come easy. Nobody in my family did any physical action. I was the first one in my family to get out there and do it. I think I have I appreciate people, and I don't care whether, you have no money or you have a lot of money. It's just people are people, and I think that's where, when people know I come from Scranton, oh yeah, you're not from California originally. You're nice to people. And I think it's just that hometown, it's still not that big, but it was even smaller when I was a kid, and we just, no matter what we grew up with, I remember my grandma used to make me dolls, and I remember we didn't have heat in our house, and my mom used to open the oven door and put my feet in, and winter I'd have a coat on and stuff, It just makes you appreciate people and appreciate things growing up like that. One of the fondest memories I have is picking blueberries. We used to go picking blueberries and making tarts and pies and stuff, So I'm just glad I'm from here and that, I grew up here.
Well, we certainly are glad that you spent some time to come back to spend time with us here in the area. If Cynthia Rothrock says, what's your future? What is your next couple of years? What do you foresee yourself doing?
Well, it's funny because I get a lot of awards, and I get Legend of the Year or a Lifetime Achievement. And when I get them, I'm like, wait a minute, I just feel like I'm starting, To me, age is not in my vocabulary. It's not in my mind. And I think, I'm going to be doing a comic book that's coming out, a documentary that we will be working on together. I'm going to have that in plans. I have a couple films that are going to get back up and running, and one is a potential amazing TV show, so I'm hoping that goes. I have a lot of adventure coming up in September. I'm trekking across the Dolomites, all across Italy, the mountains there, so I'm looking forward to that. So, to me, it's like I enjoy life, and every day I try to do something that I love, and it doesn't take much, just for me coming here with you is made my day. So, I just appreciate things, and I just try to, we never know when our time is up, so we have to live each day the best we can to the moment, and that's kind of what I do.
I'll give you my own fun personal little story going back into the 90s. I remember meeting you at an event down in the Pittston area, and you were just so approachable, just always so nice to do a photo with somebody, an autograph and things like that. And I'm sure your fans, that's what they appreciate about that they can approach somebody who has become so successful and has accomplished so many things, but yet you're still that down-to-earth person that you're approachable. You appreciate your fans and everything.
Yeah, and I think that's my upbringing. I really do. I think that's where I came from. And it's like, no, that's just my job. You have this job, this is my job, and my job, if it wasn't for people, I wouldn't be working. So I feel that I've had a really good career a long time. A lot of people will come in, do a few, and then that's it, But, I've been working and still working since 1985, and I think, that approachable thing, I love working with people. I'm very easygoing. I've done movies where we didn't have bathrooms, and they had to knock on a neighbor's door and say, "Can our actress use your bathroom?" And it's like, it is what it is. I don't have an ego. I'll just work. I don't like people that are nasty. That I don't tolerate. People like and I've seen people treat people on set being very rude. And I don't like that either. So I just we're good people here in Scranton.
Well, Cynthia, I want to thank you very much for being our special guest today. I want to thank you for all that you have done in helping promote Scranton in those films and your seminars and everything. And I would certainly encourage our viewers to follow your career as it continues to develop, and maybe someday we'll get you back in this area to even make a movie in the area, in addition to being a part of our broadcast, our TV show, and everything else like that. But welcome back to Scranton for a little while, and hopefully you'll return in the very near future and everything, and wish you well and success with everything that you have accomplished and will continue to accomplish with your career.
Thank you.
I'm Bob Savakinas. This is In a Nutshell. Please tune in again.